Alright, we are going to do an educational video today, which is something new on this channel. So if you guys want more of this content, comment down below or just send me a DM or recommend something. Any of them is fine, but in any case, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. First of all, I'm going to talk you through the picks before we get into the game. First up, we have Cannonade, and if there ever was a map made for Cannonade, it is this one. Not much to say aside from the elevation it gets will make it ridiculously strong. Pairing that with the Commandant, this tower will get incredible range to get increasingly more damage, and overall it's just a strong support tower to use. But anyways, the Executive is a very powerful boss killer, especially after the most recent rework, where this tower is now weaker in the early game, but has exponentially grown in terms of boss killing and final boss killing, where it now specifically excels. Sharpshooter is a very strong tower with an extremely high range. This tower is naturally good at hitting things extremely hard, which makes it a good pick to synergize with Cannonade's AoE and crowd control capabilities. Plasmatizer is the type of tower to just put down and do some prime boss killing. Very high damage, very long range, and with its very high DPS ramp up capabilities, it's a very good idea to just smash Lord Zeltron and the Mind with this tower at max level, which by that point will be pretty cheap and should just be able to casually get a level 5 because you're just so late in the game. Gunmaster has been Plasmatizer's alternative for a long while. While generally more expensive, this tower in a group of 6 can net you a massive amount of DPS, making it extremely worth it to take on the Mind of such a tower. Subbreaker is a very strong tower with its CC capabilities and it's not too shabby DPS. Where it really shines though is when you're using it with Cannonade, allowing for groups of enemies to be stuck in one spot and annihilating everything coming your way. Pair that with Apollo, and things can only look up until you face late game bosses. Celsi is the alternative to the Executive, and as such can be swapped out or even used with the Executive. Me personally, I'm a 1 micro tower enjoyer, but do what you feel works for you. I'll also add that Celsi can make use of her level 5 ability very well in the middle of the lower floor, but I wouldn't recommend her too highly on this map. And finally, Precursor and Spartan are on this list because you really just can't go wrong with them at all, assuming you have the ult. But the thing is, they clash very heavily with Cannonade spam, but there are some ways to work around it. Ideally, you get either ulti before wave 35, where they will really start picking up the damage, especially with how weak Precursor is. Alright, next part, I guess. The early game is not that difficult, to be completely honest, but to max out our eco we will make it very specific to have the most cash we can have in the late game. The mid game is extremely easy though. If you die at the mid game, something went extremely wrong and you need to go back to the drawing board and probably just rewatch the video. See how I dealt with it. But regardless of the other two, the late game will be the hardest part of the entire thing, and make sure you watch out for Vigorous Rams and Corrupted Slayers, as they can push really far with their speed and bulk, making it harder to just straight up splash everything. It goes away with Subbreaker, but we get to that when we get to that. Alright, I will now go over where I want you to place each and every tower in the recommended section, going one by one from the first to last. Cannonades. First off, I will want you to place them around this triangle here that I'm going to make. Something like this, all the way up to somewhere here. Make another one here, and another one up to here. Anywhere in this triangle here, I want you to put these cannonades down. And also I want you to put down the commandants as efficiently and as well as possible. So like, I would typically put my commandant here. There could be a more optimal spot, but typically it just kind of works because cannonades are at their strongest in this circle here. But this also allows me to just place another commandant perfectly here in line with this triangle. You don't have to follow this triangle perfectly. I usually put them like in more like this, if we're gonna be honest. But the triangle is where they're at their most effective. So yeah. Moving on. The executive, I would want you to put the executive here in the early game if you need the defense. Now, in the recording that we're going to show later, I will be placing it here, and you will see how effective it is. However, when you're going into like the mid game or late game and all that type of stuff, you usually want to just keep this guy level 1 and then sell him and replace him somewhere here. That way, like before Devastator or something like that, Devastator's not going to just straight up one-shot him. He can only burn him because he's too far away. He's not right next to the track. All that type of stuff. But overall, when you max him out, you'll get these abilities, and I'm going to be honest, it's going to be a proper nightmare. Like, having an executive level 5 up here, and you gotta like go all the way up here, click the executive, instead of just clicking him right there. And it's just so much more faster, and it can save you in clutch situations, and also help you with boss killing during the late game. Alright. Next up, we have sharpshooters. With sharpshooters, I want you to litter this entire area with sharpshooters, all the way going to here. And I want you to do the same thing with this, all the way over to here. But you see that I didn't sell this commandant earlier, and that's because I want you to put sharpshooters all the way up here, and with optimal placement you should get 6 down on both of these. And the reason why you want to just max out the sharpshooters is because the cannonades, they do a lot of AoE. They do a ridiculous amount of AoE. In fact, on Apollo specifically, it's their map, so you don't have to worry about crowds too much. You just have to worry about the bulk that you're going to be going up against. You also want to put down commandants specifically for this area and all that type of stuff. Cover it up as efficiently as you possibly can. To make the most of it. But anyways. Plasmatizer. What I want you to do is I want you to have your plasmatizer somewhere in this circle. The reason why is because under commandant buff, this thing just suddenly just hits almost everywhere, misses this corner and basically the start. But you can also opt for going for the corner by just placing them more away. This is a spot I usually place him in. In fact, I think there's infinitely better than that, but overall, it's just very similar. You want to do that with your plasmatizer. Now, Gunmaster, the alternative, is going to have very similar range to the plasmatizer. You want them all down like this. But if you want, you can sell these two. Got a bit of the cannonade spots and put them here for maximum range up at the top. The DPS will check out. It's very strong. I've tried it against the mines. I chunked 500k HP just with Gunmasters, and I was actually surprised that I could get that much damage with Gunmasters alone. Well, anyways. Subbreaker is an extremely strong tower paired with Cannonades. if you have them up here, you only have 12 slots, and if you can put 6 here and 6 here under commandant buff, you're just gonna trivialize the late game. Specifically, like the late game is going to be, let's put it this way, Vigorous Rams and Corrupted Slayers can end your runs quite a lot if you don't have the DPS to match it. However, the alternative is to use Subwakes to just stun and slow them down, and group them all together where the Cannonades can just rip them apart. And trust me, although the stun isn't that big, I'll definitely tell you. Where's my last tower? I'll definitely tell you that Vigorous Ram here is getting slowed and stunned. More accurately, just stunned, but with 12 of them, you can start really stacking it up. As long as they don't peek into the spawn, you should be fine, and if you put all 12 up here, you won't be doing that. Anyways, we spent too long on Subwake here, but it's just a favourite of mine. Anyways, Celsi. Celsi, I'd recommend you to put Celsi in this spot specifically. Just look at the Soul Awakened, it covers almost the entirety of this square. And that can be insane, especially when they're pushing up all the way over into here. And there's going to be very little damage down here. You can just chunk them down and really just farm a lot of HP with the Awakened. Basically be guaranteed. Not to mention that this ability, Deathly Barrage, just chunks 8,000 with pierce damage. 8,860 if you want to be specific. But yeah. And finally, with Precursor and Spartan, you'll want to place them where the Cannonades aren't going to get too much value, which is basically in the spawn. You want to put down as many as possible, but ideally before wave 34. Now, the reason why I want you to put them down before wave 34 is because basically after wave 34, they're going to start really hitting you hard. And I'm talking like they're spawning quite a few Infernal Titans, and especially Precursors with their pitiful 48 HP. When there's a lot of those guys just spreading around their minus 12 splash damage, 32 directed, they're going to be murdering these guys like nothing. The Spartans, you can maybe hold fire later because they have a bit of... They have a shield, as in like, they have damage resistance, and they have higher HP. But at wave 35 specifically, that guy's going to be hitting everything so aggressively. You gotta be very careful. And ideally, like Precursor Ultimatum or Spartan Ultimatum, I wouldn't really mind too much. But for the Precursor Ultimatum, I would recommend around here. Actually, this looks not too good. I would put him around here then in this case. I don't know if his range changes. But yeah. Just solid. But with Spartan Ultimatum, I actually don't know what's the better spot. If this is the better spot, or if this is the better spot, or if this is the better spot. Regardless, you shouldn't need them anyways. But if you want to use them, feel free to experiment. But anyways, that's that. I'm going to move on now. Alright, before we press the start now button, I want you to go into your settings and adjust it to where you want. Can properly get you in a tangle if you're doing this while also playing the game. It's always the best case for everyone. I'm also gonna be talking like you don't know anything about the planet, so... or like you were born yesterday. I'll make make things easier for me to continue this and talk about stuff. In any case, put down agents in the ways that I'm putting them down. Just gonna focus. There we go. And if you do it properly, you should have them all collect cash just before wave 3 starts, or just when it starts more accurately, yeah. And you should be fine for now. We're going to be taking on quite a lot of leagues too, and that's all just a part of the plan. If we do it correctly though, we should have enough to be able to survive the 2 wasteds that are about to come through. You'll know what I'm talking about when we see it. In any case, what you want to do now is you want to get 3 level 3s, 3 level 3 agents, and we should be chilling on this. The DPS just goes up astronomically when you get a level 3, because you also not only get 4 extra damage, you get Pierce, and with the placements we've got, the Pierce should be pretty good. In any case, we'll run 1 Rusher. 29, 22, 18. That will kill, but we plan on putting down an executive. Right, yeah. I should have mentioned it. I'm going to be mentioning it now. When wave 7 is about to start, or more accurately, once you've got all these guys level 3, then you want to get a level 1 executive. This is going to be our defense for now. It should be able to be completely fine because of the Peacekeeper buffs, and there shouldn't be much to worry about. Prioritize getting a level 4 agent, and then we're going to get our first Cannonade of the match. That's what we're going to be doing. Oh, he's just going crazy. Now we'll get our Cannonade about here. Try and put him as close to this placement as possible. It's the best spot on in the entire game for Cannonades. Get him to level 3 and don't upgrade him. He will annihilate all of this. I mean, assuming the Peacekeeper doesn't do that himself, but his range is stretched out all the way, and he's shooting upwards. It's like it's Christmas for this guy. And a level 3, just one singular level 3 Cannonade should be able to deal with all the Uncleans that are coming our way. And don't even talk about these guys down there. Oh, actually, are they upstairs now? Again, absolutely annihilated, the Pollutants. 0 explosion res, they just have a high global res. They don't have enough HP to make that matter. In any case, what I want you to do is just get 3 level 4 agents. If you're feeling a bit spicy, you can go for a 4th level 4 agent. Doesn't matter too much. In fact, you can even get a level 3 agent if you don't feel like doing either. And then get a level 4 Cannonade right here. Now that we've got our level 4 Cannonade, we're basically fine all the way up until we get to wave 13. We will talk about that when we're on wave 13. But for now, just take my word for it. Alright, Commandant goes down now. Putting him down here. And this is going to be probably our biggest power spike, getting level 2 Commandants. But I'm the type of guy to get a level 3 Commandant. Don't need to get level 3. In some people's eyes it might be a waste of money. That would make sense, because it's just one guy at the moment. And speaking of just one guy, we're going to be changing that. I want you to put down 3 level 4 command, not cannonades. Just 3 level 4s. And we should be fine up until we reach the shock rush. Everything should die without much problem. But anyways, if I didn't say it earlier, Commandant, we're just putting him down for range, we're not putting him down for fire rank. Just in case. Once we get this guy level 4 though, we're gonna be completely fine. We should be fine anyways. But these guys have extremely high explosiveness. As you can see there, 0.4, 0.85. That's not something we want to mess around with. We want to get that done as soon as we possibly can. And once we're done with these guys, we have absolutely nothing to worry about. He almost even leaks too. We should have enough HP to tank him in the first place. Now once we're done with that, I want you to get up as many agents as you possibly can, just before wave 14 starts. But when wave 14 starts, I want you to hold fire on it afterwards. The underlings are dead. Shock marksmen are leaking through to the other side. Alright. 5 should be fine. More than fine enough. Now that we're here, I want you to put down up to 5, between 5 and 7 cannonades. Now, because this is an educational video and I'm not going to be skimming off the top because of it, we're going to over defend all the time. So we're going straight for 7 cannonades. And we should just be able to kill everything. The only things that are going to be proper struggles are still the shock grenadiers and huge clusters of fanatic shock troopers. We're going to be getting a lot of this. One thing for me to say, by the way, when you're making placements, don't be reckless with your placements. Don't like put them here or something. Let's say I didn't have this guy down. Tell you what, I'll do it later when I can actually do it. Because right now it's just, there's too much space taken up. Actually, I can make the example by the agents. So basically here, if I put down an agent like here somewhere, then we're just taking a ridiculous amount of space. Just because I wasn't putting him down as neatly as I possibly could. Meanwhile, if I put one down here, and I put one right here afterwards, I'd be having 2 and not just one taking up 2 slots worth of space. In any case, doesn't matter too much. We've got 7 cannonades down. Always prioritize getting them level 4 too. That's where cannonades are at the strongest. Level 5 is obviously stronger than level 4. If you want to spam one, spam level 4s. We're still on the ground floor. That's not supposed to happen. We're supposed to be letting them go up. But we're even killing shock officers down there. In any case. Now the shock basilisk does have a lot of health, but if you look at the instances, you can see that explosion is really good against these guys. So cannonades are going to be feasting on them. Don't have anything to worry about with this guy. Anyways, once you're done with this wave though, I want you to get down as many agents as you can. Nearly level 4, but you can get level 5, that would be even better. Now that we're here, we have two options. One, we can just continuously max our agents up until we have 64% reimbursement coming in from all of them. However, that's an option. It's not completely necessary right now. We don't make bank off these guys. But what we do want is we want them all maxed out. We do want them maxed out for the Devastator wave. So get up to like 4 to 6 maxed out agents. Afterwards we can just chill out on them and actually go for defense. Here I would actually be maxing them out with how much defense I already have right now. But let's not get greedy. What I want you to do is I want you to put an extra layer. Well, more like half a layer of Cannonaded in. Don't put in a lot. Only up to 3. 3 is completely fine. And also Shock Falcone is the same as the tank. He is very susceptible to explosion damage. So we don't have anything to worry about with that guy either. Anyways, I'm going to sell my executive now and I'm going to place him down the ground floor. For 2 reasons. One, it's going to be easier to access the executive. I don't have to be looking up here to check him out. And click abilities and whatnot. I just gotta look him here, and the second reason is because he will get more value down here. I mean, that one's a bit of give or take, if I'm gonna be honest. But when the wave is about to end, I'd recommend just spamming the living hell out of the liberations. Because those guys are gonna hurt the boss coming up. And if you don't know, this boss is gonna be the worst boss we face aside from the mines. Because he can just kill everything, and if you don't have the agents upgraded to maximum, or even the executive to an acceptable amount. 9.5 reimbursement as well. Then he can really just start picking apart your eco and just killing everything. You just have to be selling. It's always best to be making back that money. I think I spawned that liberation too early. It's fine though. Now, if any of your agents die here, you don't want to max them out. You want to get them to level 4. Because it's going to be too costly. It's going to cost way too much for you, so for an extra 2% reimbursement, it's just not worth it. You max them out after you kill the Devastator, but bar that, yeah. Now, we're saving for level 4 executive. The tanks should be able to have enough DPS to just straight up kill this guy. But yeah. Just one shots. Ready, that's great. At least he funded it. Is gonna die out. No, they're too healthy. Somehow. Alright. Now that we're here though, we want to complete the Slayer, and we will do that for this one as well. Something to know, do not place this executive directly on the track. Don't place him like here. This guy can one-shot him. And to say the least, that's gonna just hurt a lot. So don't forget to keep spawning liberations like I just did there. I shouldn't have been doing that, I should always be spamming them. We should be fine anyways. Cannonades do a lot of damage despite the fact that this guy's got quite a bit of explosion resistance. Anyways. And congratulations, you've passed the second hardest part of the game. Now we're in cruise control. The mid game on Apollo is trivially easy. You just kind of get to do what you want here. You can max out your executive. You can get down your plasmatizer if you want. Me, I'm just gonna opt for getting all my cannonades down. In any case, what we're gonna do is we're gonna do something that I would like to call the rule of two. Any Star Wars fans out there? But anyways, the rule of two, I want you to have 2 rows worth of cannonades at a time. And I will show you exactly what I mean by that in a second. Let's get this cannon, let's get this commandant down. Also, if you want to put a commandant down in line with someone, use the points. Like you can see, it's not a perfect circle, just use the point as a reference. Figure out where that is. Here will be fine. So just look at my placement. But in fact, I was talking about perfect placement. What's it called? More accurate. I'm not exactly doing it. The reason for that is in case you can make some light, which they will, you'll be able to replace them. Wait. Just look at this. It's another 2. And you just kind of want to do that up until your base. And although it might seem like I'm reacting here, trust me, I am never had quite a lot of deaths, especially on the last wave, where that's just going to be really unavoidable. feeling like maxing out a few of them. Anyways, I put them in this type of V formation entirely because I want these guys to just kind of see the maximum potential that they can. If I put some here, it's just going to be moderate the entire time. That's why I only do that last. So imagine placing in this spot, but it's like a tiny square. That's what we're going to be up against. And it's more nightmarish anyway. Though it's completely fine, you don't have to do anything. Because, well, it's just somehow none of my agents have died. This guy's just there. You'd be placing them like how I'd have to replace the same. Not fun. I do see the spot though. I'll ignore it now. Anyways. We're at my favourite part of this run, and arguably one of the hardest parts. It's definitely in the debate. Revived rush. Just gotta wait for this guy to die. Alright, now that we're at the revived rush, the counterplay is... 1 sec. My brush just left. Well, that's a right shame. I guess we'll have to get back to how to counter that later. If they come back around or something. Anyways, max out all your cannonades when you can. For now, we don't have any proper problems, but now that we've gotten past the mid-game, problems are going to start arising. It's not going to be as easy anymore. But in any case, here we're going to have one of the most annoying guys that we will ever have to deal with. A proper damage sponge, the Inferno Titan now. They're 0.6 explosion and 0.9 global. It's pretty tanky. One of the tankiest things we're going to have to deal with. But the thing is that these guys are really slow. That's the concern about this. They do a lot of damage. And we're going to get around to how to counter that very soon. It's going to be a bit resourceful and not sell any of them. Instead, I'm going to place them over here where all my candidates are. The idea behind this is you want to put the agents on this side of the track and over here, so that they attack away from your cannonades. It's always for the best that this stuff happens. You especially want your agents around. Because you don't want one of these guys to just hit here and hit all the way, oh wow, and hit all the way over into there. It's not the best, it's definitely not. Anyways, on to the last quote-unquote easy wave. The reason why this one's quote-unquote this time around is because it's more or less RNG dependent on if you're going to get lucky enough to deal with this guy. Our plasma. Once we max out this plasmatizer, we should be completely full builds. I'm pretty sure it's to full. Anyways. You to do. So I need to just raise this guy. I'm getting stuck on something. Oh. I was thinking it was getting something visible. That's a lot of damage. Always replace your agents. Always replace your agents. Never forget. Just kind of hit everything for a while. It's just quite insane. Anyways. Now if he teleports into your spawn, you should still be able to forward. But it's not fun. Even though he has the highest resistance out of everything in the wave, I can beat these guys by having 0.85 global. Shouldn't be too bad. By the way, the executive can take a proper beat over this guy's health. 528. That's why I'm never worried when this guy gets hit. Even if he's hit by something amazingly strong. But in any case, now we're going to be getting into the run killers, Vigorous Rams. Now, the first Vigorous Ram is not going to be a problem. But they do move faster than Infernal Titans and have very similar bulk with their 0.7, 0.7 compared to the 0.6, 0.9. And their speed is what's really the problem there. They did nerf these waves, and that's something that I'm grateful for. So now there's only 2 Vigorous Rams there, not 3. Makes it fine, we can deal with that without much problems. It's a little issue. However, now we're going to be facing 3 of them, and that's going to be where we're going to have problems. You want to get as many things as you can to beat them, ideally. Next beam is in 17 seconds. You don't gotta spam this. The beam does do quite a bit of damage. So the next lot on. We're just gonna wait for them to get to here. I could beam them now, but waiting is just gonna pay off. There is an alternative way of beating this. I've tried it and it's true, it works. Plasmatizer for Subbreaker, if you ever have too many problems with the crowd, they will stun everything except for bosses. And you know, with like 12 of them doing that, it's pretty good. Anyways, this wave. It's not the best wave, but you shouldn't have to micro. You should be completely fine just beaming him. What's up? Maybe the XT is amazing. I've never considered that. Maybe the lasers don't come out. Cannonades are doing more damage than the plasmatizers. They got this. We're usually hoping for the forward lords up here. No. Unfortunately, I'm not that lucky this time around, no matter. We'll see why really shortly. Why that's not a good idea. It's never good installation. That's a lot of hurts. It's quite hurt. You say so myself. Oh, he's doing it again. You've got to be joking. That's just very unlucky. Don't have any words for that. Make sure to keep beating up on that. You shouldn't have to micro. Might have said that earlier, but yeah. died, but Cannonade specifically, yeah. This is gonna be annoying. Usually it's fine, but that was don't really have that many words for that. Probably adjust this a little bit. It's too thin. In any case, it's fine. Wait, is this one a nightmare? Oh no, wait, it's not here. I'm so smart, don't worry about it. Wait, but then who died? Ah, one of these guys. Anyways, the Archon Blasters. Should have talked about it, but I was too preoccupied with that. Now the Archon Blasters on wave 42 and wave 43, we can just ignore them. They will only kill them. You'll just get back like so much reversing damage as well. However, by the time that happens, what I want you to do is I want you to beat. Oh yeah, they come a bit later. What I want you to do is I want you to beam these guys down. 2 beams should kill them. Literally. Oh yeah, he should be getting down. He should also kill the other guys. The damage is not negligible in any way, shape or form. To put it simply, compared to everyone else, or more accurately compared to the mods on Lord's Zeltron, if you don't know, they do splash damage and they do a lot of splash damage. You can wave goodbye to all of this in an instant. I have no words. In any case. You want to have max towers going into the final wave. Just get as much damage as you possibly can. Hey, you got value. Nice. We're not worrying about what versus does this just. In fact, we're not even going to be worrying too much about the line. This time around, I want you to beam them once. we're gonna do is we're gonna wait for tank and first one. And I want you to sell. I want you to sell your executive. Now here is going to be 5 vigorous rounds. You want to pay attention here. If the first one goes here, you don't count the executive. But if one of them goes here, you count the executive. Okay, I'm just going to sit here so that we can manipulate the pathing lines to go down this path. And then after the mine spawns, saying hi. Wow, unlucky. Now, what I should have been doing is I should have been beating this guy, but no, I am though. Bit late. Better late than never, I guess. Fine because executive buff is extremely powerful. Just keep microing and you'll be able to kill them. We even had a huge lack of what the hell happened there? Someone took a bite out of my cannonade formation. Whatever. That was a weird 1.5. Anyways, all the core principles are there. All of the stages of what to do are there in this recording. Basically, you put down more cannonades. Typically, I would have kept putting down more cannonades, but there was just so many dead here. I found it better to just micro at this point. I didn't know they were that low. But yeah. Alright, I'll see you all later. Hey, I got Commander 0. Just in case I wasn't clear in the video, there is something very important to note here. So I'm going to get to that part very shortly, but it's going to have 5 vigorous rams. It's 3 at the moment, and we'll see the 4th one really shortly, right there. But basically, when it comes to these vigorous rams, you want to keep your eye on the first one. And basically, if this vigorous ram goes up, the mind will go left, and vice versa. And you want the mind to go this direction, so you want to keep your eye on this guy to see if it goes up. However, if it goes this direction, then what you want to do is you want to spawn one troop, and it will manipulate the mind's pathing to go this direction, which is why I sell my executive, and it's also why I would sell my Celsi. And if I need to spawn one troop, I'd be getting that exec level 1, I'd be getting that Celsi level 4. With Spartan, this doesn't really matter if you spam them, but if you didn't spam them, then you also do that as well. Get a level 1, and you'll get the mind in line with all of your cannonades, and you'll just rake up way more damage than you would usually. But anyways, that's the guide done. If you have any questions, comment down below or DM me on Discord. But if you want the series to continue, then, well, smash like, subscribe, and if it's well received, we'll do a different map and maybe even get into towers. Anyways, I'll see you all later. Have a good day.